both the sexes, they show the presence of the primary sex organ, which is called as the gonad. Which sex organ I said? Which one? Primary sex organ. Okay. Now the question will arise, sir. Okay, what do you mean by a gonad or a primary sex organ? I don't know if I have defined it for you before. Primary sex organs are those which can produce gametes as well as they can produce hormones, both the things. They have the ability to produce gametes as well as they can produce what? Hormones. In the case of males, there is a pair of testes, and in females, there is a pair of ovaries. So testes in males and ovaries in females are example of gonads or the primary sex organs. And these two organs, they have a type of epithelium which is cuboidal cells, germinal epithelium. It undergoes cell division called as meiosis. In the case of testis, the meiosis is called as spermatogenesis, and in females, it is called as oogenesis. As a result of which, the diploid cells result in the formation of a haploid cell, which is called as the spermatozoa. And in the case of ovaries, it results in the formation of a haploid cell, which is called as the ovum. Okay? So testes and ovaries are the place of spermatogenesis and the oogenesis. Here the sperm and the ovum, they will unite. The act of union is called as fertilization, and that will result in the formation of a new diploid cell, which is called as zygote. One thing I like to relate with cell division is the father has got 46 chromosomes. Now, his 46 chromosomes, whose 46 chromosomes? The father's 46 chromosomes. Whose 46 chromosomes? Father's chromosomes. My father, your father. Our father's 46 chromosomes has 23 chromosomes from his mother and 23 chromosomes from his father. You got my point? And they have come together to form his 46 chromosomes. What my point? So our fathers had how many pairs of chromosomes? 23 pairs of chromosomes, where every chromosome has an identical partner, and those are called as the homologous pair of chromosomes. Are you getting my point, Michelo? So when inside the testis is the time for meiosis, the 23 chromosomes from the paternal side and 23 chromosomes from the maternal side, which are identical, they line up together in a process which is called as synapsis. Okay, so if I compare one chromosome with a currency and I say that एक क्रोमोसोम एक करेंसी है, जैसे कि रुपीज है, डॉलर है, दिरहम्स है, दिनार है, पाउंड्स है, स्टर्लिंग्स है, रूबेल है, ऐसे डैडी के अंदर कितनी टाइप ऑफ करेंसीज है? 23 करेंसीज है. तो अगर उनके पास एक रुपी उनके डैडी ने दी है तो एक रुपी उनके मम्मी ने दी है, मतलब अपने ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स की बात कर रहा हूं. अगर उनके पास एक दिरहम है तो उनके मम्मी ने एक और उनको क्या दिया है, दिरहम है। तो डैडी के पास ऐसे कितने पेयर्स है करेंसीज के, 23 पेयर्स है। आप समझ रहे हो ना मेरी बात, थोड़ा समझना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे। आई होप यू गॉट माई पॉइंट, ये बात समझिए आप सबको। एंड एट द टाइम ऑफ मियोसिस his homologous chromosomes pair with each other. So a full red and a full black over here, they are the homologous pairs of chromosomes. And when he, our father, put his chromosomes into his sperm, you know what he did? Out of the two, he put only one. Two समझ में आया ना? मतलब out of 46, how many did he put? 23. मतलब out of a pair of homologous chromosome, did he put both the pairs in one sperm? No. So in one sperm, he'll put only one red. But what he did was, that red had undergone crossing over. So now it has a little bit of black also in it. So now the chromosome that daddy is giving you, is it identical to his chromosomes or has it undergone changes? मतलब if father is having a chromosome with its DNA and he's packing it into his sperm, he sees to it that he brings about certain changes into that sperm ka chromosome so that his progeny is not identical to him, it will be similar to him. So do we look like our fathers? No, we have to, bachalo, or I have to find a divorce lawyer. Do we look like our fathers? Yes, we look like our fathers. Are we identical to our fathers? No. What my point? Do we have some features similar to our sage chacha or our in Urdu we call it fupi. What do we call it in Marathi? What do we call it? Atya, father's real sister, Atya. So do I have some characters similar to my chacha or to my Atya? Yes, because they have also inherited the same chromosome like that of my father, from my grandfather and from my grandmother. So it is not amazing that I look like my Atya or I look like my Chacha. Because father, Atya, Chacha have the same set of chromosomes from our grandparents. So your first cousin from your father's side, you and you walking in the mall, both of you, and anybody can identify that these are brothers, sisters, brothers, or sisters, sisters. Because you're showing a lot of similarities. Because your gene pool is the same. You got my point? So when your father is packing his chromosome into his sperms, is it identical to his chromosomes? Is it similar to it? And what has he done? He has shown meiosis, crossing over between homologous chromosomes. And who are these homologous chromosomes? The 23 pairs that he had inherited from his father and mother. Am I able to tell you the idea properly? I don't think so. I have to show it in your mother's side. Same way. Mama has got 46 chromosomes, 23 from Nana, 23 from Nani. And these 23 at the time of meiosis will get aligned in a process which is called as synapsis. Then in the process called crossing over, there will be recombination of the DNA and ultimately she'll pack the chromosome into her ovum. Now that ovum ka chromosome and the ovum ka DNA, is it exactly similar to your mother's? No sir. But is it exactly identical? No. Is it similar? Yes. So is there any chance that you look like your mama and your mama matlab mama, not mama, mama and your masi? Yes or no? Yes, because you are all sharing the same gene pool. ठीक आया समझ में? Now this sets haploid will come together to give you your 46 So your 23 have come from your mother's side, and the other 23 have come from your father's side. So no wonder you look like your first cousin on your either sides. What my point? If you ask your mothers, all your bad characters are from your father's side. But tell her today that it's half half. 23 from her side, 23 from your daddy's side. आया बात समझ आप सबको? आया बात समझ में? तो ये जो जाइगोट है, कितना क्रोमोसोम्स उसके अंदर? 46 chromosomes. How many pairs? Half of it coming from maternal, half coming from. But then why is he not identical to his parents? Because he's a product of meiosis, where crossing over occurs between the homologous chromosomes of his paternal and maternal chromosomes. Did you get my point, everybody? So what do I have now? Zygote. Nahi, say zygote. Zygote. Now, the zygote, if you want to call it as a zygote, it will undergo what? What will the zygote undergo now? Mitosis. But it undergoes a special type of mitosis. Who? Zygote. And that is called as cleavage. What is the special type of mitosis called? Cleavage. And that results in the formation of a mass of cells. All these cells are undifferentiated. All the cells are same. There is no division of labor. They look like a mulberry fruit. Have you eaten a mulberry fruit, Bacho? Yes? Okay. And that is called as morula. What do you call it? Morula. All the cells of the morula are totipotent. All the cells of the morula are totipotent. You remember what is totipotent? They have the ability to undergo cell division and to produce an entire organism. This morula ka cells will show the presence of a cavity called as the blastocele, and now it has changed into a structure which is called as blastula. And this blastula will further change. Now, even the cells of the blastula are totipotent, or the cells are same. There is no division of labor. Okay? Now the cells of the blastula will show differentiation. Now every cell will take up specific work, function. And as in 11th standard I have told you, the outermost layer will be the ectoderm, the innermost layer will be the endoderm, and the middle layer will be the mesoderm. So you'll say that, sir, these are the three germinal layers. Remember this point, Muchalo? The three germinal layers. And now this will be called as the gastrula. Now they have lost their totipotency. They have become pluripotent. Now, if you ask the ectodermal cells, can you form the entire human being? They'll say no. Sir, we can form the brain, we can form the skin. Mesodermal cells, what can you form? We can form the blood, we can form the muscles, but not the entire human being. So, from the stage of the gastrula, the embryo has become differentiated. It has lost its totipotency. It has become what? Pluripotent mass of cells. Then it undergoes the process of organogenesis. There is full formation of what? Organs. And after 3 months, you look like a human beings. After 3 months. कितना month पूछ लो? 3 month. 3 महीने में आपको एक इंसान का आकार मिलता है. समझे मेरी बात? मतलब वो फिंगर्स, 2 पैर, ठीक है, पहले ऐसे ऐसा रहता है, धीरे धीरे फिंगर्स ऐसे कट जाती है बच्चों, ऐसे ऐसे करके. Okay, so you have got all those 5 fingers and all that. So now you can see that it has taken a shape of a human being. And when it has taken a shape of a human being, we start using the word what bachalo fetus. Got my point? Up till that stage, we call it as an embryo. So the first 3 months you are developing as an embryo, almost approximately. Yeah? After that, you start getting the human shape, and we say that now it has formed a fetus. Now the time for the fetus is to come in the world, and that process is called as what bachalo childbirth, parturition, followed by bachalo the feeding of milk by our mother, and that process is called as what lactation. Okay, and that is what you are going to study in the first chapter, that is human reproduction. This is a flow chart that I gave you. I hope you got my point. So what are you going to study in human reproduction? In human reproduction, I will teach you what is the male reproductive system, what are the different organs, what is their structure, and what is the structure of the testis, how does it produce sperm, structure of the sperm. Simultaneously, we will go over here ovaries, female reproductive system, menstrual cycle, then structure of the ovum, the process of fertilization. Then we'll talk about post-fertilization changes, formation of the morula, blastula, gastrula, parturition, and lactation. As समझ after this is over, then we'll talk about the second part, and that is called as human reproduction. I'm sorry, reproductive health के बारे में बात करेंगे, जहाँ पे हम लोग कॉन्ट्रासेप्टिव्स लाइक कॉन्डम्स, आईयूडीज, वो सब के बारे में बात करेंगे, वैसेक्टोमी, ट्यूबेक्टोमी, ऑल दैट. And then we'll finish it with sexually transmitted disorders, diseases like gonorrhea, syphilis, etc. So did you get the flowchart of the topic, Buchilo? So what are we to start with? The male reproductive system. Any question in your life, Buchilo? समझ में आया? ये तुम्हारी लाइफ, ये अभी पार्चुरेशन करोगे, लैक्टेशन करोगे, फिर खाना पीना खाओगे और किसी भी बैच में के बैठ जाओगे. ठीक है, अलग अलग सर सुनाना. कोई सवाल है आपका? प्राची हंसता है, तुम चश्मा भूल गए, इसके लिए पहनो चश्मा, पहनो चश्मा, पहनो. हाँ चलो आगे बढ़ते. हाँ, ये चार्ट लिख लेते तुम लोग, बोलता में डायग्राम. ओके, फास्ट. यस अनुष्का, stop that. Yeah, Anushka, do it fast. And this view is the front view of the MRS, the male reproductive system. First, I'll classify it. So, अलग-अलग parts में मैं divide करूँ. And I believe it should be divided like this. First is what, bachalo? Gonads. So if you ask me, sir, what is the gonads? What is my simple answer? They are your PSO. What is PSO? The primary sex organ. Learn all these words, huh, bachalo? These are not my gharka words. You have to learn it in this way. PSO is what? Primary sex organ. What's a primary sex organ? The one which can produce gametes as well as hormones. And in the case of males, it's a pair of testes. Okay, so two of them together will be called testes, and singular will be called testis. Okay, then the next classification is external genitalia. Genitalia म्हणजे sex organ. External genitalia मतलब those sex organs that are visible to your eyes. अलग लक्षात. Genitalia मतलब क्या होता है? Sex organs. External genitalia म्हणजे those organs which are visible are called as external genitalia, and that includes, see the labeling anywhere, I have labeled scrotum, bachalo. कहीं लिखा है मैंने scrotum? Yes, do you see this labeling. What is that called? Scrotum. So external genitalia includes what, bachalo? Scrotum. And second is penis or the penis. Okay. So if you can locate in the diagram, this is the organ I'm talking. Okay. So external genitalia will include how many organs, bachalo? Two. What are they? The scrotum and the penis. तो जैसे टेस्टिस को मैंने क्या कहा था? गोनैड. फॉर द पेनिस आई विल कॉल इट एज अ मेल copulatory organ. The male copulatory organ. Copulation in English means sexual intercourse. Okay. So the penis is the male copulatory organ. Got my point? The next division would be which are the glands. Okay. Just like when we teach you reproduction in plants, we say androecium and gynoecium are the essential worlds. But सिर्फ वही है ना, नहीं है, दूसरे भी तो है जो हेल्प करते हैं. कोई इंसेक्ट को अट्रैक्ट करने में हेल्प कर रहा है, जो भी है जैसे. तो सिमिलरली मेल रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम में भी गैमेट्स बनाने का काम किसका है? टेस्टिस का. उसके फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम में डिलीवर करने का काम किसका है बच्चे लोग? पेनिस का है. लेकिन फिर वो गैमेट को नरिश करना, उसको प्रोटेक्ट करना, वो फ्लूइड बनाना, आई होप यू गॉट माय पॉइंट, वो सब काम जो है वो कौन करेंगे बच्चे लोग? ये ग्लैंड्स करेंगे. एंड द ग्लैंड्स इंक्लूड, इफ यू सी द थ्री लेबलिंग्स ओवर देयर बच्चा, आई हैव रिटन व्हाट? seminal vesicles. Then we have written there what बच्चे लोग? Cowper's gland. And we have written over there prostate gland. है ना? So what are the glands that are included? Seminal vesicles, Cowper's gland, and the prostate gland. And then we have got the ducts and the tubules. So do you see this? Okay, we forgot this labeling, macho. An important one. Epididymis. Please add that in your diagram. Don't forget to add that. Epididymis. Then you have got vasa differentia. दोनों को मिलके क्या बोलेंगे? Vasa differentia. This tube, singular will be called as vas deferens. Then there is a ejaculatory duct, and then there is a duct which is called as the urethra. Now you can add this in the labeling. What's that? Urethra. Okay. So what are the ducts and tubes? We have got epididymis, then vasa differentia, ejaculatory duct, and the urethra. Okay. What my point, everybody? Now, let me start with the scrotum. Okay. So if you ask me, kids, what is the scrotum? My answer would be, it's a loose pouch of skin. What is scrotum? It's a loose pouch of skin. Okay. Where is it located? I would say in the region of the groin, between the two thighs, below the pubic symphysis. क्या बोला मैंने? In the region of your groin. Okay. Groin is the jock region, the place where you wear your pants. Okay. That is called the region of the groin, between the two thighs, below the pubic symphysis. So let's start with the pubic symphysis. Guys, you remember pubic symphysis, everyone? Pakka. Pubic symphysis is a part of your pectoral girdle or your pelvic girdle? Correct. And that is your two hip bones, now. These are the two imaginary hip bones. right, Bachalo? And that region is called the pubic symphysis. And these are the two thighs. Okay? And in between the two thighs, I will find that there is a pouch of skin which is called as scrotum. Okay? So what's the scrotum? It's a pouch of skin, loose skin, which is darkly pigmented with sparse hairs. With sparse what, which hairs. Remember this point, because in the female reproductive system also there will be a part which will be similar to the scrotum. So I'll mention this last point again. It is darkly pigmented with sparse hairs, and in the female genitalia also I'm going to get a part. So at that time I'm going to say, see, both of them are what? Similar. आलं लक्षात का सांगितलं ती? So where is it located now? See, Bachalo? Can I say it is located where, Bacha? Below the pubic symphysis. ये दोन thighs च्या मध्ये region काय अर्थ? Groin. In the region of the groin, between the two thighs. Now, the wall of the scrotum is made up of a muscle called as the dartos muscle. What is the name of the muscle? Dartos muscle. And the scrotum is also connected with another muscle called cremaster muscle. Okay. So what are the two muscles that you associated with the scrotum? The wall itself has got the dartos muscle. It is also connected to the cremaster muscle. Are you there with me? Within the scrotum is a space. The space. Before that, sorry. The scrotum is divided into two compartments by a septum scroti, and within the scrotum there is a space which is called vaginal coelom. What's the space called, Bachalo? Vaginal coelom. And this vaginal coelom shows the presence of the pair of structures which is called as testis. So is the male testis visible from outside? No. It is protected inside the scrotum. Got it? And it is connected to the scrotum by a fibromuscular tissue. Called as gubernaculum. What do you call it, Uchilo? Gubernaculum. Is my class following what I am saying? So the scrotum is a loose pouch of skin. It is located below the pubic symphysis in the region of the groin between the two thighs. It is made up of dartos muscle, also supported by a cremaster muscle. It is divided into two compartments by a septum scroti with a cavity that is called as the vaginal coelom that shows the presence of the gonads, which are called as the testis. The testes are connected to the wall of the scrotum by a fibromuscular tissue which is called as the gubernaculum. Now my mind is asking the question, so why is it made up of the dartos muscle? And what is the job of the cremaster muscle? Okay, then remember that okay, what is happening is the region of the groin. The testis requires about 2 degrees Celsius less than the body temperature for spermatogenesis. And that is the reason why it is there outside the abdomen. What my point? काय बोललो समजलं का? की स्पर्म फॉर्मेशनसाठी अराउंड 2 डिग्री कमी लागतं. म्हणजे आता आपलं बॉडी टेम्परेचर किती आहे मेलचं? अराउंड 37. मग अंदाजन 2 डिग्री आपण कमी पकडूया. दॅट इज व्हॉट इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर स्पर्म प्रोडक्शन. आलं लक्षात आलं? सो कॅन द टेस्टिस बी एबल टू प्रोड्यूस स्पर्म्स इफ इट इज देअर इनसाइड युअर abdomen? No. So it has to be there outside. Got it? That is the reason why the testis is present extra abdominally. The testis is present extra abdominally. It is not located inside the abdomen. It is located outside the abdomen. Okay? If the body temperature, okay, and the summer time, the body temperature in the summer time, how is it, bachalo? Hot. So what will happen is the dartos muscle will make the scrotum loose, as a result of which the scrotum will hang down away from the body of the male, and it will provide less body temperature. Got my point? Whereas if it is very cold, wintry, then the cremaster muscles will help to pull up the testis towards the body of the male. So can I say the scrotum is actually helping in thermoregulation, that is required for spermatogenesis. I know a male patient whose this function was not there and he is not able to produce sperms. So this is also important. But my point, something that we take very lightly, okay, is also important for what? Spermatogenesis. And if that is lacking, it will cause a disorder. Got it? So what happens during the winter season? The cremaster muscles, not only winter, cold, the cremaster muscles will pull up and the testis will come close to the body. So as a result of which it will get the necessary amount of body temperature. But वही जब hot होता है, then the dartos muscle will help the scrotum become loose and the testis will move away from the body. I hope my class followed. So can I say the scrotum is not only protecting, but it is also working as a thermoregulator pouch for your testis, helping it in what बचलो? Spermatogenesis. अलग की लक्षात सर्वांना बचलो काय सांगितलं ते? हा, तर डार्टॉस मसल आणि क्रेमास्टर मसलचं फंक्शन समजलं? हे दोन्ही मसल मिळून स्क्रॉटमला बॉडीच्या जवळ आणतात वेन इट इज विंटर आणि त्या बॉडीच्या लांब घेऊन जातात वेन इट इज समर. Thus they are maintaining the required temperature that is there in the scrotum for spermatogenesis. So the next question is, okay, is it from the good reproductive health of a male that he wears skin tight jeans, okay, especially during the summer season, especially young boys of your age, and they sit in the classroom for 6 8 hours, bachalo, not from good reproductive health. बरोबर है कि नहीं? If you are wearing those skin tight jeans, sitting on the benches, the testis will be very close to the body wall, and thus increasing the body temperature in the testis. That is why it is not recommended to wear those skin tight jeans. I hope you got my point. Especially during which season, bachalo? Summer season. Especially if you are a student who is cycling a lot and who sits on the benches for a long period of time, you should always wear loose clothing. Now, so from this I concluded that the testes, their location is extra abdominal in the scrotal sacs. Clear है? This statement was clear है तिकडे बच्चा? Everybody? The next question is why? And I gave you the answer why. Okay? But now look at this, huh? When you study the histology of the testis, the outermost layer shows an incomplete peritoneum. Peritoneum is not a new word for you guys. I've been shouting it from so many years now. Maybe at least 1 year. I have been shouting for many years. You have been listening for 1 year. So peritoneum is what? Visceral organs which are there in the abdomen. They show the presence of epithelia, which is called as the inner visceral peritoneum. So the testis is showing which layer, bachalo? Incomplete layer of peritoneum. Now, don't you think it's puzzling? म्हणजे थोड़ा सा पजलिंग है कि भाई टेस्टिस आप तो बाहर है ना, तो आपके ऊपर पेरिटोनियम का कवरिंग क्यों है? वो तो किस कौन सा ऑर्गन्स पे होता है? इंट्रा एब्डोमिनल ऑर्गन्स पे होता है. मतलब मेरा पजल ही नहीं समझा ना आप लोग को. मैं क्या पजल डाला वही नहीं समझा आपको. समझा क्या पजल था? कि टेस्टिस के ऊपर क्या है? इनकम्प्लीट पेरिटोनियल लाइनिंग है. और ये फीचर किसका होता है? उन ऑर्गन्स का होता है जो एब्डोमेन में डेवलप होता है. टेस्टिस एब्डोमेन में है कि एब्डोमेन के बाहर है? तो उसके ऊपर पेरिटोनियम का लेवल क्या लेयर क्या कर रहा है? ये मेरा क्वेश्चन. अलग अलग सकता है नहीं समझ लो नहीं समझ लो. हाँ, उसका आंसर सुनोगे. सो लेट मी गो इनटू योर फीटल स्टेज. where your fetal stage, where you are developing in the womb of your mother, or a male child is developing in the womb of his mother. So this is a male child developing in the womb of his mother. Okay, are you getting my point, Muchalo? At that time, look at this. Oh, look at this. Where has the testis developed? Where has the testis developed? In the abdomen. So that, hey, Chotu, look here, don't giggle and all that. You're going to be doctors, you're going to operate on the testis. You're not going to giggle like this. Have an acumen of a medical student. So where is it developing? Abdomen. So there is a development of the testis intra-abdominal or extra-abdominal? Intra-abdominal. Alakshat? So does the testis develop in the scrotum originally? It is developing in the abdomen of the fetus, male child. And in the 7th month of pregnancy, okay, under the influence of certain hormones, the testis will descend down through a canal which is called as the inguinal canal and will come into the scrotum. And it is still attached to its original position in the abdomen via a cord which is called as the spermatic cord that shows the presence of a part of the cremaster muscle. It shows the presence of blood vessels. It shows the presence of nerves. It shows the presence of a part of vas deferens. Hello, Lakshar? Hey, Zoplat ka sarva. So where is the development of the testis? Abdomen. And after they develop, in which month of pregnancy I mentioned? They descend down through the dash canal, inguinal canal, into the scrotum. And they are attached via the spermatic cord, which contains a part of the cremaster muscle, blood vessels, that is the arteries and the veins, along with the nerves, and a part of vas deferens. And this inguinal canal closes around it. It closes. समजलं? म्हणजे हे जर इन्ग्वायनल कॅनल आहे, ह्याच्यामधून ते स्पर्मॅटिक कॉर्ड होतो, आजूबाजूला ते टिश्यूज डिपॉझिट होऊन ते काय होतं? क्लोज होऊन जातं. आलं लक्षात? झोपलात सर्व? So I'll tell you one disorder where there is a failure of the descent of the scrotum of the testis. That in a male child, the testis fail to descend into the scrotum. So will the scrotum will have the testis now? No. The testis is still inside the abdomen. Okay. So this is a failure of the descent of the testis. That is called cryptorchidism. What's the name? Cryptorchidism. I want answer. Cryptorchidism. What is cryptorchidism? Failure of the descent of the testis into the scrotum. It's called what? Cryptorchidism. Hey, so So will such a male be able to produce sperms? No. Titan Book of Medicine says that even if you surgically bring down the testis, still the heat has already damaged the sperm producing cells. As a result of which, such a male will not be able to produce sperms. And the other point he makes is कि ये डिसेंट का फेलियर क्यों हुआ, तो वो बोलते हैं कि टेस्टोस्टेरोन की कमी की वजह से. तो आपने बाद में भी सर्जिकली अगर उसको निकाला नीचे तो भी मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द केसेस में क्या होता है, वो स्पर्म प्रोड्यूस नहीं कर पाता. आप समझे मेरी बात, आया ना? सो हाउ विल दिस मेल डेवलप? एफिमिनेट. टेस्टोस्टेरोन अगर किसी मेल में कम होता है तो मैंने क्या बोला था आपको पहले ही बताया ना, एफिमिनेट का मतलब क्या होता है, उसके अंदर मैस्कुलिनिटी कम होती है. और कैसे फीचर्स होते हैं उसके अंदर? फेमिनाइन फीचर्स. ऐसे मेल को क्या बोलते हैं? एफिमिनेट मेल्स. शायद हम लोगों ने इसको पहले भी हार्मोनल के टाइम पे एक बार मैंने इसको डिस्कस किया है. आया समझ में? एक और बात है आपने वो सुना होगा चलो कि जिम विम करते वक्त टाइट अंडर पैंट्स पहनना चाहिए, स्पेशली बॉयज के लिए व्हेन यू आर डूइंग हेवी वेट लिफ्टिंग. सुना आप लोगों ने ये बात है ना? व्हाई सपोज टू मेल सपोज टू वेयर अ टाइट अंडर पैंट और अ सपोर्टर व्हेन ही इज लिफ्टिंग हेवी वेट्स. और अनदर थिंग इज इफ यू सफर फ्रॉम कॉन्स्टिपेशन, जो फीसेस अगर पास नहीं हो रहे तो उसको जबरदस्ती से उधर ऐसा जोर लगा के उसको पास नहीं करने का. हसू नको मूर्खा, हसू नको वेड्या, डॉक्टर बनणार आहे, 32 दाखवून नाही चालणार. आलं लक्षात? If the patient is constipated, you have to put your hand and you have to take out the feces. So stop laughing and giggling. So what happens, if the male is constipated, what will a constipated male do? He puts a lot of pressure ना, ऐसा प्रेशर डालता है ना. या फिर अगर आप हैवी वेट लिफ्ट करते हो तो you put a pressure on your abdominal muscles and that can cause the inguinal canal to open up. That can cause the inguinal canal to open up. And what will happen? ये जो अंदर का पेरिटोनियम, अंदर जो फ्लूइड्स रहते हैं, थोड़ा सा इंटेस्टाइनल टिश्यूज रहते हैं, वो सब किस में आ जाएंगे? स्क्रोटम में. सो व्हाट विल हैपन टू द स्क्रोटम? द साइज विल इंक्रीज. इट्स अ पेनफुल कंडिशन बच्चों, इनग्वाइनल हर्निया बोलते हैं इसको. काय म्हणतात त्याला? इनग्वाइनल हर्निया. म्हणजे तुम्ही जिम मध्ये जात असाल आणि हेवी वेट लिफ्टिंग करत असाल तर कधीही टाईट अंडरपॅन्ट्स घालायचे. आलं लक्षात? अँड constipated males should not force the feces through. It's not good. Not one day, over a period of time. It can cause a condition what bachalo? Inguinal hernia. Okay? ठीक है, अलग लक्षण समझ. Okay? So what is that? That the development of the testis is in the abdomen. But in which month of pregnancy? They descend down through the and come into the. They're attached to the original position via a spermatic cord, which contains the cremaster muscles, blood vessels, nerves, and a part of vas deferens. Okay. Failure of the testis to descend down in the scrotum is called cryptorchidism. And bachalo, what did I say? Did you understand inguinal hernia? Okay. So many of the points have included from the government textbook. Okay, as this chapter is also in your 12th standard. I repeatedly keep on telling that here. Got my point? So in your NEET cover Prarambh test, you'll only have what is there in the NCRT. But when we'll conduct the theory ka test, that time you'll have all these things also inside. Okay, we have to keep a balance now. Did my class follow what I said? Yes or no? Okay. So to quickly recap, scrotum is a loose pouch of skin which is darkly pigmented with sparse hair. Give me yes or no. Yes. It is located below the pubic symphysis between the two thighs in the region of the groin. Yes. It shows the presence of a muscle which is called dartos muscle. It is divided into two compartments by septum scroti. It has a cavity which is called as the vaginal coelom, which shows the presence of testis. The testis is attached to the scrotum by a fibromuscular tissue which is called as the gubernaculum. Now, is the testis having an incomplete peritoneum? So this shows that the development of testis was abdomen. But what is it doing extra abdominally? बाहर करके क्या कर रहा है बच्चों? Spermatogenesis requires less than the body temperature. So who helps that? Scrotum. In the winter season, the cremaster muscles can bring it close to the body, and the dartos during the summer can bring it away from the body. Right, bachalo? Okay. What is the failure of the descent of the scrotum called? Chiasm. And what is the increase in the size of the scrotum to the opening of the inguinal canal called? Take. Any question in your life, bachalo? If you have any question, ask. Okay. I'll give you a better answer than your Google. Okay. Don't die with the myths that you have in your head. क्या फोटो? हाँ भाई सब बजा पहले, बाद में मैं पढ़ा रहा हाँ अब ऐसा ऐसा सब करके हाँ सब जो भी फ्लेक्स करना करके वार्म अप करके हाँ फिर मैं पढ़ाना चालू कर दिया. चल ठीक है मैडम, ऑरेंज शर्ट. आप मैंने आपको उधारी दिया नहीं वापस, आपको उधारी मैं वापस नहीं दिया अभी तक. हाँ बाकी है, कुछ देना बाकी है, तो फिर ऐसा क्यों आप बैठे हैं? बैठो. नाउ so if you see a vertical section of the testis, okay, you will find that it is covered by an outermost connective tissue which is called as tunica vaginalis. Okay, and the cylinder का आवाज होता है. ये क्या कर रहे हैं इधर? ऐसा कहाँ से आवाज? कुछ भी करते रहते लोग. ये कौन आवाज निकाल रहा है? बताओ, दक्ष है क्या? Okay, and the middle white fibrous connective tissue is called tunica albuginea. Okay, and the innermost vascular tissue. You understand ना बच्चों लोग? vascular. Give me yes or no. बहुत बार बोला ना मैंने vascular. It is called tunica vasculosa. What do you mean by tunic? Jacket, covering. So your testis is how many jackets, bachalo? 3. What are 3 jackets? Vaginalis, albuginea, and vasculosa. Okay. The tunica albuginea, at certain places it is absent, but mostly covers your testis. And what it does is, bachalo, it sends walls inside. What is sent inside, bachalo? Walls. Hey, Tanvi, don't laugh. These walls are called septa. क्या होता है इसको? Septa. As a result of which the testis will get divided into number of compartments, and each compartment is called as a testicular lobule. What do you call each compartment? testicular lobule. So kids, what are the testes covered by? How many layers are they covered by? Three. What are the three layers? Tunica and tunica vasculosa. Right? Who produces septa inside? Tunica albuginea. अभी तो बताया था मैंने tunica albuginea. It produces septa, dividing the testis into number of compartments, which are called as the testicular lobules. ठीक. Each testicular lobule has about 1 to 3 tubules called as seminiferous tubules. Each testicular lobule shows the presence of about how many tubules, बच्चे लोग? 1 to 3 tubules, which are called as the seminiferous tubules. Now I showed only one. What is this tubule called, बच्चों? Seminiferous tubule. I hope my class followed, बच्चों, everybody. Give me yes or no. So एक कंपार्टमेंट में स्पर्म प्रोड्यूसिंग ट्यूब्यूल्स होते हैं, और इन स्पर्म प्रोड्यूसिंग ट्यूब्यूल्स को क्या बोलते हैं? सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स. अब जब आप किसी चीज को ट्यूब बोलते हो तो उसका एक एंड क्लोज रहता है और एक एंड ओपन रहता है ना. एक एंड कैसा है बच्चों? क्लोज है, और एक एंड क्या है? ओपन है. बराबर बोला ना मैंने? ऐसे बहुत सारे सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स के जो एंड्स है, समझ रहा मेरा बात? बहुत सारे सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स के जो एंड है, they will all come together and they will result in the formation of a network of very thin fine tubules which is called reproductive. फिर से एक बार. The tunica albuginea divides the testis into number of compartments with the help of the septa. Each compartment is called as a testicular lobule. Each testicular lobule has about 1 to 3 sperm producing tubules, which are called as the seminiferous tubules. Each seminiferous tubule ends in a thin tube. Many thin tubes, they form a network together within the testis, which is called as the reprotestis. I hope my class followed, everybody. Now these reprotestis will form the about 15 to 20 thin tubules, which is called as the vasa efferentia. Differentia नहीं बोला मैंने, क्या बोला? vasa efferentia. And this vasa efferentia will then open into a part that we labeled in the end, if you remember. I had called it as epididymis. Huh? So if I say that if a sperm is born in the seminiferous tubule, it will be put into the reprotestis first, then it will go into the vasa efferentia. From there it will go into the epididymis. I'm still there in the where, bachlo? Epididymis. From there it will begin its journey into the vas deferens. From there it will go into the ejaculatory duct. From there it will go into the urethra and it will come out. One more point. So which place produces the sperm? The seminiferous tubules. Then the end of the seminiferous tubules come together to form the, and the reprotestis will form the, lead to the vasa efferentia, then pierce through and open into the epididymis, into the vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, urethra. Clear, everybody? Yes or no? So if you cut the testis in a vertical section, I see the presence of 3 layers: vaginalis, albuginea, vasculosa. Albuginea produces septa, divided into number of testicular lobules. Each testicular lobule has about 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules, which end in the reprotestis, which opens in the vasa efferentia. एफरेंट, इफरेंट, बाहर लेके जाने वाला क्या रहता है? इफरेंट रहता है. वासा इफरेंशिया into the epidermis, into the vas deferens, into the ejaculatory duct, into the urethra. नहीं समझा आपको मेरा बात? अभी गया दिमाग में, गया अभी भी सब? हाँ. Between the seminiferous tubules, बच्चों, I have told you, between the seminiferous tubules there are which cells? Leydig cells. विसरला तुम्ही Leydig cells. What is the other name for the Leydig cells? Interstitial cells of Leydig's. What do they secrete? Huh? Huh? Androgens like testosterone. Under the influence of which hormone? LH. That is the or other name for that I had given was interstitial cell stimulating hormone. तो मैं ना पुढचा पार्ट मागचे सपाट करते जाते हैं. टेंशन वाला काम है तुम लोग का. जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़ेंगे पीछे पीछे का भूलते रहते तुम लोग. ठीक है? Now, if you take a transverse section of the testis, then we'll say that who are these? These are the seminiferous tubules. Who are these? Seminiferous tubules. And there will be a connective tissue here, bachalo. Let us call it as the interstitial tissue. And there will be cells here. What are these cells called? Leydig cells or the interstitial cells. And these interstitial cells, they secrete a hormone which is called as testosterone. Now we are interested in the seminiferous tubule today. हम लोग कहाँ इंटरेस्टेड है? सेमिनिफरस ट्यूब्यूल्स. उसमें ना एक बच्चों क्यूबॉइडल एपिथेलियल सेल्स. सही है ना? कौन से सेल्स है बच्चों? क्यूबॉइडल एपिथेलियल सेल्स. और इसको हम कहेंगे आपका कौन सा एपिथेलियम है ये? जर्माइनल एपिथेलियम. और उसके बीच में कुछ सेल्स जो है वो कॉलमनार है. तो उसको बोलते हैं टॉल पिरामिडल सेल्स. ओके. सो आजू बाजू में कौन से सेल्स है बच्चों? कौन से सेल्स है? क्यूबॉइडल है. ठीक है ना? और ये एक्चुअली स्पर्म प्रोड्यूसिंग सेल्स है. तो इसको हम लोगों ने क्या नाम दिया? जर्माइनल एपिथेलियल सेल्स. और उसके बीच में जो कॉलमनार सेल्स दिखे आपको, दीज आर कॉल्ड एज दी लर्न द नेम सर्टोली सेल्स. क्या उसको? सर्टोली सेल्स. ओके. और दे आर ऑल्सो नोन एज नर्व सेल्स. क्या कहते हैं इसको? सी द एनसीईआरटी हैज मेंशन वन मोर वर्ड फॉर इट्स. सस्टेंटिकुलर सेल्स बोला वहां पे, देखो. देखो जरा. No? So they're known by another one more name. What is the name, bachalo? Sustentacular cells. Okay. Hey, what is the job of these nerve cells? Okay, they will help to what? Nourish the sperms and दे आर ऑल्सो what बच्चे लोग phagocytotic cells. They will phagocytosize the dead sperms. आया बात समझ में? Once a sperm is mature, are you there with me, everybody? Hey, my, who are the red cells? Where is that, my? Yeah, my. Who are the red cells? Cuboidal epithelium. And who is this लंबू वाला? क्या बोला उसको मैंने हम लोग ने? सर्टोली सेल. When the sperms develop, ठीक है, their heads are, oh, look at this, guys. Can I say the heads are inside, embedded within the cervical cells? ठीक है? And then the sperms will be released out from the Sertoli cells into the lumen of the seminiferous tubule. This process is called spermiation. What is the process called? Spermiation. बाहर. कौन बाहर आ गया बच्चों? Sperms. By a process which is called spermiation. Did you understand spermiation, everybody? Huh? Yes, Siddharth, what is spermiation? Tell me, please. Release of developed sperm from the. Do the Sertoli cells produce the sperm? No, they are produced by those germinal. ठीक है? Another function of Sertoli cells is, just listen, it produces two more hormones. Who? Sertoli cells, which is called inhibin and AMF. Extra बोल रहा हूं मैं. Anti-Mullerian factor. Okay, anti-Mullerian factor. What is one of them? Inhibin. Okay, and inhibin can decrease the effects of LH. It can inhibit the activity of LH. What my point? And AMF, that is the anti-Mullerian factor, will help in the development of the male reproductive parts, because Mullerian factor can help in the development of which part? Female parts. So I told you today two things. One was a gene called TDF, that is testis determining factor. Other is a hormone called as a anti-Mullerian factor. Both of them, they prevent the development of a female and they promote the development of a male. Got my point? So what helps the male to become a male during the early embryonic stages of development? Those genes that are there on the Y chromosome and the AMF, that is anti-Mullerian factor. You got my point, everybody? And now, one more thing, bachalo. These Sertoli cells, so I said that they also secrete all, bachalo. What do they secrete? Hormones. Which hormones? Inhibin and AMF. And they are a part of testis blood barrier. Which barrier? Testis blood barrier. Which barrier? Testis blood barrier. इसके पहले कोई ब्लड बैरियर सुना था आपने? नहीं सुना था? ये जोशी नाम बोल रही है. ब्लड ब्रेन बैरियर. कितनी बार सिखाया मैंने आप लोग को? ब्लड ब्रेन बैरियर, जो कुछ भी पढ़ाई आपके ब्रेन तक पहुंचने नहीं देता. याद है? थक गया भाई. इतने एंथुजियाज्म से बैठे थे, हाँ कि आज सर ह्यूमन रिप्रोडक्शन चालू करने वाले, लेकिन 1-1.5 घंटे में उनका एनर्जी क्या हो गया, बोले बस ये तो क्या है यार, हाँ? थक गए अभी हम लोग सर। Other than these two, who other than these two? These two, no. Other than the Sertoli cells and the cuboidal epithelial cells. The NCRT says that the seminiferous tubules shows the presence of immunocompetent cells, which give you inborn immunity. मतलब टेस्टिस के अंदर ये दो सेल्स के अलावा भी कुछ सेल्स है जिसको क्या बोलते हैं, इम्यूनो कॉम्पिटेंट सेल्स, which give you innate immunity, protecting your testicular tissue from bacteria. Some of them of the immunocompetent cells are cells called dendritic cells and macrophages. I hope you got my point. See here, everybody. So who are these cells? What are the cells? Red ones? Cuboidal epithelial cells. And between the two cuboidal epithelial, there are tall columnar cells, which is called Sertoli cells or nurse cells. They help to nourish your sperms. So once the sperm, so once the sperm is formed, the head will get inserted where into the Sertoli cells, and then the release, it will be called spermiation into the lumen of the seminiferous. What the other function? Sertoli cell can also do phagocytosis of the dead sperm. It can also do what, Muchulo? Production of hormones like NABN and AMF. And it's also a part of your TBB. What is TBB? Testis blood barrier. A liquid full form. Testis ani blood. It's a barrier. Other than that, hey Prasanna. Other than that, what are the other cells I mentioned? Hmm? Immunocompetent cells. What do you mean by cells? What do you mean immunocompetent cells? They'll give your testis inborn immunity. Okay. Now, which color you want? Huh? Black? Okay, black I'll take. Sure. These cells will result in the formation of many different type of cells. Okay. ऐसे नहीं दिखते हो. And ultimately it will produce what? Sperms. So these cuboidal epithelial cells are the spermatogonia, which will form, I'll teach this later on in detail, called primary spermatocytes, which will form the secondary spermatocytes, ultimately producing a cell which is called spermatids, and finally you will get a cell which is called as a sperm. Got it? And the whole process is called spermatogenesis. And the last step of spermatogenesis is called spermiogenesis. What is the last step called? Spermiogenesis. So we are using 3 words today. Don't get tired. What are 3 words we are using today? Spermatogenesis, Spermiogenesis, spermiation. સારું છે? બધાની સમજી ગયું? હા, બધાની સમજી ગયું? સ્પર્મેટોજેનેસિસ શું છે? શું છે સ્પર્મેટોજેનેસિસ? The entire production of sperms from spermatogonia to primary to secondary to spermatids to sperms. Spermiogenesis શું છે? Spermatid changing into the sperm. Spermiation is the release. ठीक. And who is it, Buchalo? Androgens. Who is that? Who is the androgen? Testosterone. Testosterone जैसी नाम है तो क्या बोलने का? So the testosterone will stimulate. What will the testosterone stimulate, Buchalo? The testosterone stimulates the process of spermatogenesis. Genesis. पहुंच गया. लास्ट वाला बहुत पसंद है तुम लोग को. ऐसे लग रहे ठीक. Under whose under whose influence is the androgens produced? Who produces these androgens? Leydig cell. As of sir, nahi. Who is it? Leydig cells. So LH will act on the Leydig cells. Leydig cells will release what? And the androgen will cause what? Spermatogenesis. Similarly, who is it? FSH, that is follicle stimulating hormone, will act on your Sertoli cells and will help in the process of what, Bachalo? Spermio. So that is why in endocrine I have told you FSH helps in the last step of spermatogenesis, which is called as spermiogenesis. Did you understand? Testosterone, androgens, they stimulate spermatogenesis, whereas FSH helps in the last step of spermatogenesis, which is called as spermiogenesis. याद रखना सर का बात. राजवर्धन फर्स्ट ईयर में याद रखेगा कि नहीं? क्या बताया था सर ने कि टेस्टोस्टेरोन, एंड्रोजेंस, they stimulate the process of spermatogenesis. Okay, LH acts on Leydig cells, androgens, spermatogenesis. FSH, Sertoli. What is spermatogenesis? The conversion of spermatid into the sperms. म्हणून आपण एंडोक्राइन मध्ये तेव्हा एक लाईन सांगितलेली मी तुम्हाला काय की द FSH acts on the last step of spermatogenesis, which is called spermiogenesis. I hope you're getting it now. Chalo everybody. Huh? Quite easy, not difficult. है ना? अलग लक्षात ना सर्वांना? So once a male reaches puberty, that is the age of sexual maturity, the levels of testosterone in his blood will. So don't you think he'll start sperm production? Yes. Ayana, under the influence of LH. And that testosterone is also responsible for secondary sexual characters that I have already told you. What are they? We need to revise them again and again. Thick facial hair. Local. Come to the deep voice, broad shoulders, more muscle, and highly intelligent. Highly intelligent. है बात समझो सबको? ठीक है, जो अपना बायो का जो हमेशा टॉपर लिस्ट निकलता है समझो, हाँ, जरा इसको मिल करना चाहिए, सब पॉलिटिकली इनकरेक्ट स्टेटमेंट्स।